G'day and welcome to another video with Better Pics. Hope this finds everyone well and healthy. Today I wanted to create a video around presets in Lightroom. Now, basically what presets are a set of instructions to apply edits to an image. So say for example you have a particular image that you've edited and you really like the way that it's come out and you want to save those edits to be able to then apply them with a couple of clicks in the future. Then presets allow you to do that. Now Lightroom actually already comes with a number of presets which you can see over on the left hand side here, and they offer a wonderful array of options when it comes to applying adjustments really quickly, either as a final result, or you can simply use them as a starting point. What we're going to look at today is how to create your own presets. So say for example you have a particular style of editing for a particular purpose. The images we'll be looking at today are travel images. You may be shooting family portraits or weddings or any number of subject material that you want to create a specific look for. It means that you can create your own presets so that you have your own signature look that can then be applied to other images very quickly and most importantly consistently. One of the things that I've found, or anyone really finds over the time of creating images, is you start to develop a bit of a style, and that style is not only in the way that you photograph, but it's also in the way that you edit and present your photographs, and that can become quite signature. That can become very clear. If you look at any number of well-known, well-respected photographers throughout the world, they generally have a specific style that is recognizable of their particular work. So this just allows, as part of the editing process, to bring some consistency or ease of consistency within your editing workflow. As I mentioned, with the presets that are built into Lightroom, it doesn't mean that that is the be-all and end-all of your editing process. It just means that that is a starting point, or can be a starting point, for you to then move forward and make further adjustments. All right, let's get into it. So we have 4 images here. Just quickly go through those. This was in Helsinki in Finland. This one, obviously Venice. This one is in Zurich in Switzerland, and also Zurich in Switzerland. So very different lighting and different cameras, and different images, but all throughout Europe. So I'm just going to reset all of these images because they have had changes previously applied to them, and I want us to start from the very beginning so that we can see the effect that those presets have. I'm going to start by giving this a little bit of an interesting edit. It may not be the type of edit that I would normally do, but I'm going to just give it some interesting, I guess, effects just to have something to actually save as a preset. All right, so we're going to continue scrolling down. You can see I've just made a bunch of changes there. A little bit faded sort of look. Yeah, I'm just going to make those few adjustments. They don't need to really be anything specific, aside from what I'm coming up with on the spot. Yep, that's all fine. And I'm just going to add a little bit of grade in there, just to make it a little bit interesting. Yep, that's great. All right, so obviously a little bit interesting effects there. If we go back to the original image in our history, we can see that it started off very different to what it is now, but that's fine. But I kind of like that effect. It's kind of a bit of a desaturated, I wouldn't say vintage look, but it's just a little bit different sort of look for my normal editing style. So what I want to look at up here on presets is there's a little plus symbol. We can just drop down our presets and create presets. All right. Now there's 2 options up here at the top. group and preset name. So the preset name is the specific list of instructions, and the group is the group within or the group that the preset will sit within. So you can have, say, for example, a vintage look, and you can have 5 different presets within that vintage group. You can have a saturated group where you have, any number, 5 or 10 different presets within the saturated group, and so on. So you can create different groups, create different presets within those groups. So I'm going to just create a group, and I'm going to call it vintage create, and I'm going to call this one vintage 1. All right, just to keep it simple. Now, at the moment, you can see underneath with the settings, everything that's checked. Now, everything is checked, and that's fine. That means it's going to include all of the adjustments that I've made. And you can, if you like, uncheck those and just include the areas or the adjustments over in the develop module that you've actually included. For example, if you create a preset where only the white balance, the exposure and contrast have been adjusted, then you would just click those 3. Just simply by clicking or unclicking those boxes. You can obviously check none and then just check the 3 or however many that you've included as a quicker way to do it. But at the moment I've made quite a few adjustments, so I'm just going to leave all of those checked, and yep, that's all good to go. Otherwise, only include the ones that you have made adjustments, or include them all, as many as you like. All right, and we're going to hit create. And if we have a look at presets now, over on the left hand side, just going to minimize all of these. As you can see, there's a lot that Lightroom comes with, and down the very bottom there is vintage and vintage 1. So you can see that that preset has now been created, which is great, because now if I go to those other images and I click on vintage, it automatically applies those same adjustments either as a starting point or as a final image style. If we go over to this one, now this image is a little bit darker, so it'll be interesting to see how this one's affected. Now for that image, I would definitely make some further adjustments. Obviously to exposure, I would increase the exposure, but you can see the fundamental style of the image is more in line with the other images that I've created. And that last one, if we go to vintage on that one as well, again, I would increase the exposure a little bit so you can see how, maybe decrease the highlights a little bit. You can see how it gives me a good starting point, and the fundamental style of the image edit is consistent, but it also gives me the flexibility to make further adjustments, which in those last 2 images, I've chosen to do that. So now, if we go back to library and we look at those 4 images, you can see that their style is fairly consistent in terms of edits. However, if we do wish to make further adjustments, we can. And we can bring them more in line with each other. Obviously this image, it was shot in full sunshine. It's a little bit warmer. This was during winter. You can see a little bit of ice in the water there. So the sun is quite low, so you do get that warmth. Whereas this image was shot on an overcast, rainy day. In fact, it snowed just for a little bit on this day as well. So the difference in how the image is going to look, even though the same preset has been applied, obviously there's going to be some differences there, so you will need to make some adjustments. Also, being aware of the fact that you're never going to get exactly the same look to the image because of the differences that we talked about. Different weather, different time of day, different location. If we look at the Venice image, obviously that was a sunny day, and the look is closer in line with the image that was shot in Helsinki, because also a sunny day. Whereas these 2 days in Zurich are a little bit more consistent with each other because they were both shot on overcast days and the weather and lighting was fairly similar. So presets are a great way, as I mentioned, to start your image editing quickly and easily, particularly if you've developed looks that are signature to your style of photography. Now, I've only created one there, but as you can imagine, you can create a whole bunch of different styles, different black and white style, different low saturation, different high saturation, different contrast, all different presets that you can create that are specific to your image making and your style, keeping in mind that there's a bunch that are available within Lightroom already. Thanks again for stopping in. As you can see, presets can be a really useful tool and are definitely worth exploring, particularly if you are looking at creating a look with your images, or multiple different looks, as well as wanting to increase the efficiency of your work. So being able to apply a bunch of edits or adjustments to images really quickly is never a bad thing. So you have those options available to you, and of course you still have the flexibility to continue that editing process on those images even once you've applied a preset if you need to refine it a little bit further. Thanks again for stopping in. Hope you have a great day and take care.